Indiana's portal haul, through a metric they use, gained and lost. Indiana is number one in what they've gained and what they've lost. Well, look at that. Mike Woodson and the Hoosiers have no players inside of the top 100 for the NBA draft that's coming up on June 25th. We'll talk about that article. And Josh Harris coming to the Hoosiers, a big pickup, a 6'8" forward out of North Florida, comes in. We got all that to talk about and more on this episode. Let's get into it.
Pretty simple. I win. Basketball is a way of life in Indiana that many people will never understand.
Hello, guys, and thank you for joining me on Indiana Sports Connection. I am your residential anchor, Aaron. Thank you so much for being here, being part of this community. Indiana, they get another commit coming in, another big guy, another rebounder. I saw this dude. I know in my little short there, I said that he was a 6'8" wing. I said he's a wing because I saw him take people off the dribble, off of the three-point line a lot in his highlights. So, I mean, this dude can play off of 2 feet under the basket. He can rebound. He can shoot a little bit from the outside. He's got pretty decent shooting touch. We're going to talk about him at the end of this episode. We're going to talk about Indiana's transfer portal haul, how this metric they use to show Indiana being number one and what they've gained compared to what they've lost. And then no players inside of the top 100. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say that Mike Woodson, he left it better than he found it. Well, people can just stop saying that right now. This dude drove a nail into the heart of Indiana basketball.
Me, not you, but me. Every day.
Which is you and me and the fans everywhere. And we don't have to say stuff like that. We don't have to blow smoke up people's asses. Let's just be truthful about it. It was a dumpster fire. That's what it was. But if this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button down below. This is Indiana Sports Connection across the country and across the globe. And hit that thumbs up button. You want to pump this video out to more Hoosier fans and more fans all over the place. We got Kentucky, Purdue, a lot of fans and people watching this show all over the place. So I thank you for that. A person who is a Kentucky fan who won the contest has not responded is Carol. She is the one who won the hooded sweatshirt. So if you subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. I'll be redrawing that if she does not get to me soon. And it might be a man. I've known a man named Carol. And I have a woman's name. Some people call Aaron. I hate when they ask me if it's spelled E-R-I-N. No, it's not. That's not how you spell the man's version of it.
I think people should just know that.
The video is brought to you by BetUS. Use my promo code Indiana125 to save 125% on your first 3 deposits, and 10% of the AdSense revenue on this channel goes to T2T.org. Without further ado, let's get into talking about the Indiana Hoosiers. All right, Hillbilly Monkey. So, did you like the new intro? I'm trying to change it up a little bit. It's the summertime. Got a little bit more time, less time of news coming out. Although with this transfer portal, there's a lot of news coming out about Indiana all the time. I do want to talk about what was in this article. It was written by Todd Golden on SI.com, and it's in what was gained and lost, Indiana Transfers Hall has ranked the nation's best. So let's talk about how they figured this up. Indiana's transfer portal class was rated best in the country by college basketball website The Portal Report on Monday. It wasn't particularly close either. Okay, that's a good sign. I mean, that's a good sign because this is all going by the numbers. And I know we hate to look at numbers because guys are going to play different roles on this team and it's really hard to do all this. But look, any type of good news like this is good news. And Portal Report uses a formula that ranks players based on what production they brought to the team they had played for previously. Based on Portal Report's criteria, the 7 players Indiana lost had an average score of 56.3. The 9 players Indiana has added so far have an average score of 76. Okay, so I don't know what all that means, but it means something to them. And these guys with all these numbers, they're putting this stuff together. And it's important to look at stuff like this. I don't put all my stock in that. I'm a heart and soul type of guy. I don't put all my stock in stuff like this. But it's definitely something we got to take a look at. By Portal Reports formula, Indiana gets a score of 62.4 in production gained and lost. That's the best in the country by a significant margin. Second place, Nebraska had a production gained and lost score of 47.2. The rest of the Portal Reports top 5 was Baylor, Creighton, and Kentucky. And then it went on to say later on, comparing production lost and production gained is not an exact science. A coaching change in the transfer portal age is always going to create a lot of churn. In recent seasons, power conference schools have been able to mine the mid-major ranks for starters at a level who will likely be reserves in the Big Ten. That dynamic of having gained starters versus having lost reserves is part of what makes Indiana's transfer portal class look so good when in comparison versus gains and losses. So practically it takes all the players that are going out. Of the players the Hoosiers lost to the portal, which was Renew, Mbako, and Rice, were the only Indiana players who started double-digit games. All other players who started double-digit games were lost because they exhausted their eligibility. However, among the players Indiana gained, all but Sam Alexis started double-digit games, or in the case of Tucker DeVries, started 100% of the games he played in before he was hurt. So of all of the players that Indiana has added so far, all of them except for Connor Enright were double-digit scorers. Here's like the dudes they brought in. I mean, they've brought in a lot of guys that can score. Some of them did it at lesser levels at some of the schools they were at. You know, it's yet to be seen whether or not this is going to work in the Big Ten yet. I'm not saying 100% it's going to work, but look who we got. Lamar Wilkerson, 20.5 points per game at Sam Houston. Reed Bailey, 18.8 points per game at Davidson. Josiah Miles, 15.42 points per game at North Florida. Nick Dorn, 15.2 points per game at Elon. DeVries, 14.9 points per game at West Virginia. Tatum Conaway, 14.2 points per game at Troy. And Jason Drake, 11.1 points per game at Drexel, have all proven they can score at the Division I level. Okay, so this article is just another bright spot for this team. And anything positive, like we've had a long time of things being negative, and now we're going to talk about that because another article came out. Indiana had no players inside the top 100. If there was one thing that Mike Woodson came here to do, if there was one thing that Mike Woodson said he was able to do, if there was one thing that as an NBA coach, if he put the effort in, he should have been able to get a player like Umar Ballo to play at a higher level if he wanted to really like move on to the next level. I saw this dude Ballo put a tweet out that he's joining the NBA draft and like that he has hopes. I'm telling you, dude, like you should have been thinking about in the last 9 months of what you were doing every day. Okay, don't sit here and I don't think he's blaming anybody else, but don't sit here and like, well, he is. He's a person that acted like he was the victim of the fans. You're a victim of your own bad decisions is what you are. You're a victim of going out late at night. And I've heard a lot of people say this about this dude is like, he was like continually ripping Mike Woodson a new asshole during the practices. I don't know if this is 100% true. This is just a rumor out there. If that's really what was happening behind the scenes, this dude was like giving it to the coach that way in practice. Not good. Not good. I mean, he should have been benched. Like, I know people get fired up in sports, but and you want to see that fire. But if he's fighting against because he just don't want to work hard and do things the right way, to me, you're fighting the wrong fight, my friend. Another player, Mbako, played at Indiana 2 years. I mean, this guy probably had the most potential to really make the NBA and really did nothing at all. I mean, it was like his skill set with what Mike Woodson wanted to do on offense just did not mesh at all. This dude was just, he played a game unto himself. I mean, he just played a game where he got the ball, he's going to fire up a shot. When he gets it, it's like, yep, he's going to drive. I don't think that dude ever passed the ball one time to somebody once he drove in or once he got the ball and saw the rim at the same time. It was all over but the crying. And he wasn't going to go for a rebound either. He was going to shoot that shot and jog back and play some real crappy defense and just leave himself there. Kanan Carlisle was said to be an NBA. I never saw that even from the very beginning. I've heard people say he's a top-level defender, all of these things. But it is just something worth noting that Indiana just fell and really, really far under Mike Woodson. And look, we got something better now. We can definitely look at what we have now and see that the effort is being put forth by the coaching staff. There's something else. I mean, that one of the assistant coaches had to sign a memorandum to Coach DeVries that he would not. I basically read it. Basically what it says is that if he was going to go somewhere else as an assistant coach, and I'm sure all of the assistants had to sign this, that they'd have to put it in writing that they're talking to another school if they're thinking about going to another school. But Josh Harris coming into the Hoosiers, North Florida transfer. He's a native of Pembroke Pines, Florida. 220-pound, 6'8" forward. He was highly productive in his debut season. So this dude's got some eligibility left. He had 20 or more points in 5 games, including 31 points against Queens College on January 23rd. I just watched the highlights of this dude. Seems like a strong player. I think shooting wise, I think he can shoot a little bit from the outside. I mean, he's not going to be probably banging home shots, but
He's gonna play.
he fits into the system of what DeVries is trying to do. You can tell this guy, he can be kind of a slasher. That is why I called him a wing in my video, because I thought he can handle the ball well. We're so used to watching this old school style of play that it's a lot less, it's a lot more positionless basketball with what DeVries is bringing in compared to the system that Mike Woodson ran. So, I mean, this dude, I think this dude would have played in like the 3 spot for Mike Woodson, or maybe the 4 spot. But you just don't see him as limited as a player as like Malik Renew was around the basket. And also because he has more, I believe, just lateral quickness than Malik Renew does. You never saw Renew catch the ball on the perimeter and take somebody right to the bucket. And you really did not see that until later in the year out of Mbako or a lot of players on this Indiana team. So it's exciting. I mean, the types of players he's bringing in are really getting me excited. Yeah. Hillbilly Monkey, what do you think about what's going on with the Hoosiers right now? Are you excited about it? Are you not excited about it? What do you think about everything that's happened in these last weeks?
Carved from the sands of the Wabash River and formed into a monkey lamp that's sold at Home Goods. It's the Hillbilly Monkey Perspective on Indiana Sports Connection.
Well, I mean, everybody should feel like we're breathing new air by the way that Darren DeVries is getting this done, and he's bringing in a totally different style. Whether it works or not in the Big Ten, whether or not all this is going to shake out, I know we all want to see it on the court. We want to see it in person. We want to see it, and, we're going to have to wait for that. But as far as everything goes right now, I mean, this is what Hoosiers are all about. Putting the effort forth, doing things the right way, building a team culture, building Indiana basketball back to what it's supposed to be, the way it is supposed to be for years to come. And then we could build off of this. And, a lot of people ripping, Indiana for years. Oh, they suck. It's all institutional. It is not. We had a couple of really bad coaches, had some really bad luck. I mean, I would say Sampson and Crean were decent coaches. Mike Davis just got thrown into a bad situation at a bad time. It was just something he wasn't ready for. I wouldn't really blame him for that. But we are back, baby. And it's back because the Hoosiers are going to be the Hurricane Hoosiers 2.0 once again.
Hurricane Hoosiers 2.0. I got to make up those shirts because we got to trademark this team. We got to make this into a real revolution, And I think there is a real revolution on our hands right now. What Darren DeVries is bringing into town, the confidence he's got. I mean, you just look at the amount of time he spent as an assistant coach, all of this different stuff, and we've talked about it all. But I think that leads you to a guy who did this just last year at West Virginia, but a guy who really, really loves what he's doing, really, really loves being here at Indiana. And I don't think he would have taken this job if he thought he, wasn't the best guy for the job. I mean, I guess, that sounds really cliche, and I just didn't want to say that there, but it is a new breath of fresh air, and it's a revolution for the Hoosiers, what's happening right now down there in Bloomington. So, and one last thing I want to talk about, there was a cryptic message from Luke Goody right here. So yeah, Bobby Nightmare, I saw, posted this the other day. So could this be a sign that Luke Goody is going to come back to the Hoosiers? Because I'll tell you what, I'd love to have Luke Goody on this team. Another guy, a backup guy who's 6'7", that could play behind Tucker DeVries in that spot on this team. He's a guy that, and he's a guy that could really help tie it all together as well. I think he's a great culture piece. I like Luke Goody. He's from Fort Wayne, and we do the show in Huntertown, Indiana, so we love to see it. We love to see if Luke Goody could get back on the team, because that shooting off the bench, that's a guy you can really count on in a spot. Like if somebody gets in foul trouble, whatever, you need guys like that. And he is like, he really can bring that real Hoosier touch to it, being an IU guy, and people love that in Indiana. But thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Indiana Sports Connection. Till next time, stay classy out there, Hoosier fans.